This is the prophecy of Ovadya. Ovadya, the prophet Ovadya. Prophet Ovadya, he lived like around the middle of the first temple. Most of the prophets were in the first temple. In the middle of the first temple, and his prophecies were to the non-Jews, and he had a very small prophecy. This is the whole thing. This is his whole prophecy. That's it. 21 sentences. His whole prophecy, and it says the reason that he merited to this prophecy was, like we said this morning, he was a convert. He was what we call a ger, a convert to Judaism. His parents were not Jewish. He wasn't Jewish, and he converted to Jews, and he became one of the high ministers in the government of Achav, the king of Yehuda, and his evil wife Jezebel. And she decided, this Jezebel, she wanted to kill, all the prophets of the prophets. So she went around to kill them, and he, miraculously enough, just one second, let me just see what this is over here. And he, so where's 1 minute? I just want to find this over here. Oh, seems I make a mistake. Achav was the king of Israel, not the king of Judah. It was that was Achaz. Achaz, he was the king of Judah. He was also a bad king. It was Achav. Achav was the one that was married to Jezebel. They killed all the prophets of God. And this Ovadya, that he wasn't the prophet at the time, he hid away 100 prophets. 50 in one cave, 50 in another cave. And because of his tremendous self-sacrifice, so he merited to this prophecy that he got. And this is the prophecy, just one page, but it's very deep. Especially he's prophesying to the non-Jews. He's prophesying to what's called Edom. Edom today, I guess the closest you can get to Edom is the church, right? All the white, whatever is Jew, the Jews, the white people, that they're most of them are the Jews. I guess there's a lot of others, but that's Edom. Okay, Chazon Ovadya. This is the vision of Ovadya. This is the Haftorah of this week. Chazon Ovadya, Ko Omar, not white people, the European. So Omar, this is what says God, Edom. This is the prophecy of God to Edom. Edom means all of the non-Jews. Now, this is relevant to this week's Torah portion because Edom comes from Esau, the brother of Jacob. And so you can ask a question, how can it be that all the non-Jews come from this Jew? So you can ask the same question, how does Christianity come from a Jew? It also, Jews make a lot of trouble for the Jews. So this is the prophecy of a God to Edom. Shemua shamanu me'et Hashem. And he said, I have heard from God, me'et Hashem, v'tzir b'goyim shulach. And a messenger to the nations has been sent. And it says, Kuma Nakuma aleha lemilchama. Let us go against all the nations of the world are going to go against Edom for a war. Behold, I have made you small in the beginning. The Edom, in the beginning, it says that you were very small among the non-Jews, among the nations. I have made you despised. But Zadon libacha hisyacha, but the evil of your heart has misled you. Shoch ne bahagoi sela marum shivto. Your dwelling place is in the clefts of the rock, very high. In other words, you have succeeded tremendously to conquer all these European lands, and now you're saying how great I am. So you're saying to yourself, who could possibly bring me down to the earth? I mean, what's going to bring the church down? Come on, there's 2.5 billion people that believe in Christianity. Now, how are you going to bring these people down? Says the Rebbe, if you lift yourself up like an eagle, if you lift yourself between You put your nest among the stars. Misham aridecha, I can bring you down from there. If you want to, I will bring you down from there. Im ganavim ba'olacha, im shar, if thieves or what is it, marauders come to you in the night, then how can you be? You would be cut off. Halo yignavu dayom. They would steal everything. They would steal only when they had enough for themselves, right? If I decided to make you helpless, as then you'd really be helpless. They could steal everything, just like you stole from everybody else. It's all still from you. Ech nechpasu esav nivu mitzvu nov. How can it be that Esav has searched and all of his hidden treasures will be revealed? Ara gavul shalachucha. You have been escorted to the boundary. Call anshe britcha. All the people that made agreements with you. Hisiucha. They convinced you. Yochlulach, that you are able to be victorious. Anshe shlamecha. Your the people of your covenant, they lachmecha yisimu mazor tachtecha. They put trickery into you, and they ain tavuna, that you cannot understand. They've ruled over you, and there's no way that you can understand. You'll be able to understand what is going to happen to you, the disaster that's going to be. Even ordinary robbers will leave usually something behind, but you are going to be stripped from everything. You won't be able to understand this. Usually a person robs a house with not valuable things, he leaves behind. You'll be stripped from everything. Halo bayomahu, will it not be that on that day, va'avarti chachamim Edom, that there won't be any more wise leaders among Edom, but tavuna mehar Esav, or understanding from the mountain of Esav. Right up to now, there's been genius priests and bishops and things, cardinals, and they wrote all sorts of books. It's going to be now. There's not going to be any understanding. I mean, pretty much that's what's happening now, at least in the church. I don't know what's going on in other places. V'chatu giburechem, your mighty ones from the south will be broken. Giburecho Teman, the mighty ones of the south will be broken, in order that you will be cut off from the mountain of Esav, and it was from your source, because of the murder that's going to happen to you. Mechamas echicha Yaakov, because of your brother Yaakov, Jacob, techase busha, because you should cover over your disgrace. In other words, because you opposed and you tortured your brother Yaakov, right? How much trouble the church especially made, and those people that came out from it. I mean, really Hitler and those people, they were big supporters of the church, right? The church is listen, let's get getting down to the basic of what was the whole thing of the church. The whole thing of the church of Christianity is that there's no more Old Testament, which basically means there's no more old laws. There's no more laws. Basically, there's nowhere in this Gospels that says it's forbidden to kill or rape or murder. It doesn't say that. That's all in the Old Testament. And you're saying there is no Old Testament. So because of that, and of course the Jews are still adhering to this, and that knocks down your whole entire philosophy and your religion and all your success. So you've always hated the Jews, and because you've always oppressed them, as this techasef busha, therefore it will be revealed your disgrace. You will be disgraced, busha v'nichras la'olam, you will be cut off forever. B'yom amaretcha meneged, the day that you stood far off, as b'yom shavut zarim chelo, and when strangers come and they captured all of the wealth of the Jews. V'nachrim bo sharo, and the strangers came into the gates, and al Yerushalayim yodo goro, and on Jerusalem they cast lots over Jerusalem, and Gamata, and you were part of them. You were also part of them, right? The Greeks came, and this, In the end, it was you were part. Who destroyed the second temple was the Romans destroyed it, right? The Romans destroyed the second temple, and the Babylonians. So they took the treasures that the Babylonians took. So the Romans took away. V'al tir'i b'yom achicha, that do not see the day of your brother Israel. Al b'yom nichro, on the day that his become estranged, the day that everybody, in other words, you pretended not to see how the whole world. Here, you take a look at example, the United Nations today, right? The United Nations. Every month, twice a week, whatever it is, all of a sudden they make another decree against the Jews, another condemnation of Israel, how they're treating the Palestinians, how they're treating the women, how they're treating the children, they're treating the babies, how they treat them. Everything is wrong with the Jews. Nothing can possibly be right. And what do the Jews do in the United Nations? They don't know what to do. Please don't yell at me. I promise I'll be good. Al tira gamata barautam b'yom edo. Says, don't worry about it. Do not rejoice on the day that the Jewish people are destroyed. The temple was destroyed. Fa'al tishlachenu b'chelo, and do not take any of their and do not expand your mouth. Al tishlachenu b'chelo b'yom edo. Fa'al tamod al perak lahachrit et pelitov, and do do not stand alone and take part of their calamity, and don't take his wealth on that day. Al tizgor sheridav beyom tzara, and don't try to those who are left over, don't make them suffer on the day of their punishment. What happened? The Jews were all taken, scattered all over the world in the different nations, and because they're scattered all over the world, so now the non-Jews think that they can do what they want to with the Jews, and the Jews are all afraid, and they're trying to assimilate, and etc., etc. So Ovadya, the prophet Ovadya, is coming. Now you have to realize this prophecy that Ovadya is making, this is a long time ago. This is in the middle of the first temple. The first temple, which this is something like 2,600 years ago. Something he made this prophecy, something like that. And he's saying, don't worry about it. When the day comes, it's going to be like tomorrow, because it's very near the day of God. I'll call a goyim on all of the nations, the retribution of God, and they'll, just as you have done, kasher asita, just like you did, yaseh lecha, will be done to you. What you deserve will be put, what you have done will come back on your own head. Just like you you drank from my holy mountains, you drank the riches and the wine, so all the other nations will drink also from you. And it will be, you will be, yes, and you will become like there never was such a thing. People will say, hey, I understand there used to be this big nation, Edom, there used to be the church, used to be things. So what are you talking about? There was never such a thing. It never exists. Here, look, I say in a book, there's even pictures. Well, I guess you're right. Was it something like that? You'll be just like it never was. Bahar Tzion, and in the mountain of Zion, there will be refuge for the Jews. And the house of Jacob, it will be refuge and it will be holy. And the house of Jacob will inherit all of those people that dispossessed them. Then the house of Jacob will be like fire, and the house of Yosef will be like a flame, and the house of Esav will be like straw. And this flame will devour them and eat them up. Now this means one of two things. Either it means it'll devour them and destroy them, or it'll devour them means it'll elevate them. Below Yasarid lebeis Yosef, there won't be any memory, a survivor from the house of Esav, because God has spoken. For Yoshua Negev, those of the southland will inherit the land of Esav. Could be the southland that's talking about Israel, and the house of Esav is all of Europe. I don't know. And the Shfela will inherit, those who are in the lowlands, they'll inherit the Palestine. And they will also inherit the lands of Ephraim, the fields of Samaria. This Ephraim and Samaria, that's where the tribe of Israel was, the 10 tribes were. And Benjamin and the Galad. Then the exultant ones, the Gula, where are we now? Gula, 07? Yes. The Gula, the exalted hosts of the children of Israel that are among the Canaanim, and then we'll figure out that was from the Canaanim until Tzarfat. Now, Tzarfat, he just translated as just some country, but Tzarfat means France. And the Rebbe made a whole thing about this, that it says that the revelation of God will be until France, and that's right, like it is right now, that France was the biggest, freest thinkers and the biggest, whatever they call existentialist atheists. That powerful atheism came from France, and says that Judaism will be revealed to there, and the exile of Jerusalem that's in, they will inherit Jerusalem. They will inherit, and also those in Sfarad, they will inherit all of the lands of the south. Anyway, Yalu Moshim, the saviors, in other words, the Moshiach, and all those that help him, will come in the Mount of Zion, and they'll judge the mountain of Esav, and others, all the non-Jews, and then God will rule over the whole entire world. That is the end of this week's Haftorah portion. God bless you. Have a good Shabbat with Mashiach. Now, tomorrow, God willing, I hope, at 8:15, we'll learn a Sikh of the Rebbe.